I'm going to be replacing the water tank on my plate compactor. Keep watching the video, I'll show you how I do it. How's it going, guys? It's Jeff Lepard from DoItAllSealing.com. On this channel, we do driveway sealing, paving, asphalt repair, concrete, and much, much more. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. So I've been using this plate compactor in many of my videos that you've probably seen, and lately it's been getting worse. The water tank is actually broke, and it's cracked, and it will not hold any water. So I've finally ordered a brand new water tank, and I'm going to be changing this right now. The first thing I need to do is just remove the protection bar, and I'm going to be doing this with a 3/4 inch socket. There's going to be 2 bolts on the front and 2 bolts on the back, and then also the 2 bolts under here that are attached to the water tank. So I'm just going to get in here, and these are the first 2 bolts I'm going to take off. So the front bolts are off. Now the only thing left is just the 2 back 3/4 inch bolts for the protection bar. So the bolts are off, the protection bar is free. The front bolts are off. There's just 2 bolts, 2 13mm bolts that I need to get to fully remove the water tank, and then the bar is gonna come off. Okay, so I'm ready to pull the protection bar and the water tank out. I've already disconnected the hose. It's actually ripped anyway, but if your hose is intact, you will have to disconnect it from the rail. Mine is ripped, and we'll get into that in a bit. So I'm just going to lift up on this. Okay, we'll get this out of the way. That's our tank. Put that aside. And there we go. So this is the broken water tank. We've done a few repairs before. It didn't really last, but held up for what it needed to. And the hose, of course, the vibration. I'm going to be putting an upgraded hose that you can probably purchase from any of the hose places or hose stores, and I'll show you when I get to that. So the next thing to do is to crack open the brand new one from the box. Okay, so I've got the cap for the water tank because the other one was broke, and just opening this up. Now, I just want to let you know, if you ever have to do this, it is quite expensive. I was a little bit shocked to find out the price of a water tank. I figured it would be a few $100s. This, the cap and the water tank ran me about just over 800 Canadian. Okay, so here's our brand new water tank, and it also comes with the rail, hose, and our hardware, and also your valve. It comes with absolutely everything. And your instructions. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is I'm going to be changing up the rails. Now, before I started all of my YouTube channels, I actually did replace this, but I'm going to put the new one on now and then keep the older one for a spare part. The water tank, I didn't realize, also came with a cap, so I'll return the cap that I bought. The gentleman told me that I needed a water cap. I didn't know what came in the kit, so therefore I get to return the cap because it already came with one. Hose, it already came with a hose. I was going to use an upgraded hose, but I've decided I'm just going to use the hose that it comes with for now. Should anything happen to that later on, then we'll get into that replacing the hose later on. So I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to use my 13mm wrench, and I'm going to go ahead and start loosening the bolts here. So I have my new water rail in my hand with the attached hose that it came with. first thing you need to do before you bolt this down, you're going to want to feed this hose up through the access hole, and that's going to connect to the water filter and the shutoff valve. Now I'm ready to attach the rail with the 3 bolts. I'm just going to give the bolts a little bit of a spray with WD-40 just to help prevent the rusting. So I'm just going to set the bolt in there. A little tricky to get it started. I'm going to have to hand tighten these. So I'm ready to place the new water tank and my safety bar, protection bar, back onto the plate compactor. Okay, just gonna grab this and just gonna feed it under. I'm not worried about it being too perfect. Okay, like that. Okay, so before I tighten down the water tank, I'm going to first screw down and bolt down the protection bar. So I got my bolt. Just going to take a little WD-40 there. Okay. Okay, and now I'm going to check it. Now that the safety protection bar is installed and it's tightened down, I'm going to, I opened up the kit and I'm going to be using some new bolts. We've got some protection shields here that are going to go onto the water tank like that, and then these bolts are going to tighten it down, and this helps prevent the tank from cracking, and which is the case of mine. I didn't have these, or at least they didn't have them at that time, and if they did, I didn't have it on mine and it was cracking the tank. So I'm just going to put these in. I'm going to tighten them, but not fully tighten them yet until I get the 2 front screws to anchor the front of the water tank down. Once I have them in, all 4 screws will be tightened, and then we'll be just having to make the final connection for the water. Now I'm going to screw in the front bolts. Now all 4 bolts are in, they're snug, but they're not fully tightened, so I'm just going to go ahead and tighten everything. Now the next thing to do is to install our water shutoff, and this of course goes into the filter. First thing you want to do, it's a bit tricky and it's a bit hard, but you have to try to get this hose onto the clamp here. Once you get the hose on, and then you can just push this into the plug there. That's for the water filter. It's really tricky. You have to kind of force it. You can use a bit of WD-40 to help it. We got the hose attached. Next thing to do, we just need to push it through the hole, and inside here is your water filter. Done. So that's it. That's how you change the water tank on a Wacker plate compactor. You could also do that on any other compactor. Just follow these instructions and you should have no problem. Just want to thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Bash that bell to turn notifications on for all upcoming videos. Share the video, give us a thumbs up, and like our video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what plate tamper you guys are using. And we'll see you next time from doitallsealing.com. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.